My homie is at the computer and he's like, yo, Victor, come here, come here. He shows me in an event like cage, ring girls, camera, lights, production, but the people fighting ass. And my buddy was like, Vic, why don't you just go in there and like give it a try? You're definitely better than these guys.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it, let's do it. I trained my ass off for it. I was like, whatever is captured on that camera, I want it to do me justice. I want people to be like, damn, Victor's a badass. As fate would have it, they got an equally bad motherfucker. And we meet like two unstoppable forces. Now here's where the plot twist happens.
Welcome back to the Piece of Grit podcast. Today, I'm excited. If you are if you're looking to get into the fight game, if you're looking to get fit, if you want to learn what it really means to be a badass, Victor is your guy. Victor, thank you for coming on, man.
Of course, I appreciate that intro.
Yeah, man, let's go. So we met at Jeremy's place.
Yeah.
When you trained Lee, which was really cool. Like, you guys scrapped, it was cool, but your boxing style stood out immediately. You have this dance with it, like legitimately. We were in boxing training for a little bit last year, and there's a certain kind of style to it that, like, once you've practiced, gotten in a lot of rounds of sparring, you can kind of start to dance a little bit. And I think when I watch your fight highlights, when I watch you train people, like, dude, you have that dance down pat. Tell me a little bit, like, where the boxing career started and why boxing?
Nice question, man. Nice. Well, to start off, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
And pleasure to be here and excited to talk about this stuff because it's what I do on a day in, day out basis. And answering already your question, I've started martial arts at a very young age. I'm from Brazil, so we grew up playing soccer. That's a given. Mm-hmm. And then on my other 50% was martial arts. Mm-hmm. And I did Kung Fu, I did Jiu Jitsu, I did Judo, I did Capoeira, I did Taekwondo, I did Muay Thai, kickboxing. When I came here, I did wrestling. And then the last thing I did was boxing. Okay. That was the last one, the last stop. And boxing has a way of grabbing you. Just like, you staying right here. Uh-huh. I don't know what it is. I still can't explain it, but just something about it. I think it's like something about putting those gloves on, the competitive nature of it, obviously, but then also the spectator nature of it also. Like, people get to be a part of the madness without being in it.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, 100%.
They get their crazy out. So I grew up playing soccer, but I was always better at fighting. Whatever I did, I fighting martial arts wise, I excelled at it more than I did soccer. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to be a soccer player. But I was like, damn. But I'm also very competitive. And at one point I said, I want to compete at the highest level. And I know that if I align here with my natural strengths, which is martial arts or whatever fighting related, I can compete at a high level, maybe even world class.
Hell yeah.
That was always my goal. I'm like, I just want to be world class, man. I want to travel around and like fight with the best. And so then I started doing MMA here. I started competing. I'll jump right into a quick story of how I started competing.
Yeah. Let's go.
I was playing soccer. I was in second division. I don't know what they would call it here, like the D League. I don't know.
Like G League.
G League.
Yeah. Like semi-pro.
One down.
Yep.
Semi-pro.
Yeah.
And I'm like making a full push, but I got all these skills that I'm just sitting on. And my homie is at the computer, and one day he's like, "Yo, Victor, come here, look at this." And he shows me in an event like cage, ring girls, camera, lights, production, crowd. Like, you would have thought this was the next biggest thing happening.
Yeah.
But the people fighting ass. The guys couldn't stop a takedown. It was just very trash. And my buddy was like, Vic, why don't you just go in there and like give it a try? You're definitely better than these guys.
Yeah.
Like, go put your skills to the test. And I looked at it and it looked fun. It looked interesting. And I said, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. I got all these skills. I could just fucking go. I trained my ass off for it. I was like, I'm going to do this one time and I'm gonna go back to soccer. So whatever is captured on that camera, I want it to do me justice. I want people to be like, damn, Victor's a badass.
Yeah.
So I trained my ass for it. And like if I'm gonna fight Mike Tyson or something, that was always my attitude. And then as fate would have it, they lined me up with another badass. They got a equally bad motherfucker. And we meet like two unstoppable forces. Long story short, ends in a draw. Ends in a tie, dog. And I was like, I kind of walked away from that like, you know? I wasn't expecting that. I can't just like walk away now. You know, I gotta get a W.
Yeah.
And then I'll walk away. So I signed up for another one. This is kind of how I got caught up in this shit. Signed up for another one, trained my ass off, won. Did actually really good. And now I'm starting to get like, people are like, oh yeah, you're pretty good, you know, this and that. You're putting like some
Were you fighting like as like we do, like as, you know, like were you like fighting and you were like, damn, like as a kid and you were like, you know, scrapping for what you had to, you know, obviously in Brazil. When did you move from Brazil?
I was back and forth my whole life.
Okay.
I first touched down in Miami when I was 5.
Okay. And so then you were like pretty solid in Miami for the most part from then?
I was like a full 5 years here. When I was 10, I went back for 3 years. My dad works for airlines, so we were always bouncing.
Hell yeah, yeah.
3 years there, then 2 years here, then 3 years there, and like fucking all over the place.
What's that dynamic like? Like the different, like how is it like living in Brazil for 3 years and coming back here and going back? Like I'm sure it's a completely different world.
At the time, it was really annoying because you have your buddies and your friends, and you kind of have to be like, yeah, peace, bro, I gotta go.
Yeah.
That was really not a good experience, not a good feeling.
Yeah.
But after the fact, now looking back, I feel the benefit of it. You know, like I feel like I've been more.
You're dynamic.
More dynamic.
Yeah.
More well-rounded.
And when you were going back and forth, were you already fighting or is this before?
So I was learning
Okay.
like taekwondo,
Yeah.
Jiu Jitsu, and gaining experience.
Yeah. And do you think that like learning those techniques in Brazil and learning techniques here in other styles of fighting, does that make you a better boxer now?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It made me an all-around better fighter.
Yeah.
Especially when I got into the competition part of it. We went into this school where everybody's learning everything at the same time. Imagine if I told you, hey, you got to learn German, French, and Portuguese in 6 months. Like, damn, where do I start? Like, should I learn one word with each? Like, how do I, you know? I had an advantage because I already had ground game. I had jiu-jitsu. I already had kicks. I had taekwondo. I already had takedowns. I had judo. I had takedown defense. I had done wrestling. So I was literally ready to compete when I got into that school, and I excelled really fast.
Yeah.
And then really quickly back to that story, because I excelled really fast, people were like, yo, you could do this. You know?
Yeah.
So I did that second fight. I won. They matched me up for the rematch with that guy.
The first one.
And now I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I wasn't trying to do that. But the guy had talked a lot of shit. So they're like, yo, after I got my victory, they're like, yo, now that rematch would be insane. I'm still trying to go back to soccer, you know? Yeah. I'm like, I guess so. Fuck it, let's do it. I signed up for that third fight. Now here's where the plot twist happens. I train like a beast, bro. You would have seen me 6-pack, ripped, look in my eye like I'm gonna fucking kill somebody. But in my head, I was not in the game. I had lost the fun of it. I was like, I remember training and being like, why am I doing this? Like, why? How did I get here again? Like, it was a question mark. And I was really not into it. I remember the day of the fight rolls up. I'm walking out. This, I'll never forget it. I'm walking out. And people are going, yeah. I look at somebody's eyes and they're like, yeah. Guys probably coked out. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with these people, man? Like, it's kind of freaked me out, right? But I'm walking to the cage. So I'm like, wait, what's wrong with me? I'm the one going into this fucking cage like an animal. So I'm going into a fight with that mindset. That's not good.
Yeah.
The fight starts, and first time that I'm revealing this, I've told the story to friends, but putting it out here on the podcast.
Hell yeah.
I walked into that fight. I wanted to be out of there as fast as possible. I didn't care about winning. I was like, I actually hoped that he beats me actually pretty quickly, so I could get out. So I'm fighting, but I didn't want to make it seem like I give up. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm fighting, and I'm like, bro, just kind of like playing the role, you know? And then the homie throws an arm lock, and in my head, I remember going like, oh, come on, bro, catch it.
Yeah.
In my head, right? And then he did actually a great job. And I'm like, come on, finish that shit like for real. And I pretended to like offer some resistance, but I wasn't really trying to. And then he catches me in the arm lock. I tap real quick. I play the whole role. Like I get up and I'm like,
Yeah.
but in my head, I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
Shit, it's over, you know? And then we walk out. Fast forward, I'm at home. And now I have this other feeling inside of my body, which I just took a loss. And I'm like, fuck, I don't know how to deal with that. And I'm thinking, I'm like, I definitely don't want to go out on a loss now. See how I'm getting wrapped up into this? But I definitely don't want to go back in the ring until I figure out what happened in my mind. Because that was bad.
Yeah.
If that happens again, it could be even worse.
Yeah.
So I reflected, and just to get right to it, what it was all about, I had lost the fun of it. I forgot why I got into it in the first place, which was a fun thing. My buddy was like, Vic, try this out for fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, because it had become about pressure. You could do this. We'll get behind you. So I was like, okay, forget those voices. Let's get back to the fun. I got back to the fun, and I went on a 7-fight win streak.
Let's go.
That was in my amateurs, right? So my amateur career was 9-1-1, 1 draw, 1 tie, and then 9 victories.
Fuck.
I hope that math adds up.
No, it did. It did.
Hey, don't. Got 2 belts on that.
Yeah.
And then when it was time to go pro, once again, that pressure started. They're like, yeah, you need to go pro now. But I'm looking around and I'm thinking like, damn, these guys, training is really brutal. If you ever taken
In MMA,
kick,
yeah,
that shit hurts for weeks, bro.
yeah.
You know, I'm like, this is not sustainable. And these guys are not getting paid. Like, unless you're at the top level, you're not really getting paid. But I would see the boxers, they were getting paid more. And it seemed to me like it was easier. You get paid more and you got like a little bit more of a prestige.
Yeah.
You do get paid more. You do have more prestige. But what I was very wrong about is that it's not easier. It was way harder.
Interesting.
And we could get into that later, but I want
So this is what I think our audience and myself, that walk into a cage sounds terrifying, like genuinely sounds terrifying. And then they shut the door, like the mindset to be able to go in there that first time and you're going to war. Like, it's not just like you're going like, and again, boxing, I'd be interested to know the difference in mindset of like walking into a ring versus walking into an MMA cage. But for people that don't know that experience, what genuinely is going through your head when you're walking out for that first MMA fight?
That's a great question. As far as I'm concerned, I've walked into both. There's no distinction between cage and ring.
Okay.
It's like you're going in there, and I had very well thought out. What do you call those? Thought loops.
Uh-huh.
To help me through each stage.
Yeah.
The cutting phase, the face off, the walkout, the first bell. I have a well thought out where I want my head to be so that I manage each and every stage of that. The walkout the walking out and the walking in, it's basically like I'm just in my zone. It's a play because it's a spectator sport, so you have to give the crowd some feedback.
Yeah.
You can't just be locked in because that's great and everything, but there's 2 sides of this game. You have to be a crowd
Entertainer.
Yes, exactly. You're there to fight for your life, but you're also there to entertain. So you have to be conscious of that, and you have to kind of be able to have a good balance of it. So hey, what's up? But back to focus. You know?
Yeah.
Back to focus. Once I get in the ring, I'm just thinking like this. I'm thinking like, okay, dog. To release the pressure, I tell myself one word. I tell my clients this actually, like one word can change your game. One word. Watch this. Exhibition.
You told Lee this. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. You go in and you act like it's just another.
You train every day, you spar every day, you're running your moves every day, your routine, you have your go-to setups, you know, you're doing this shit every day. Just people came to watch. So you're gonna go through your moves like you do every single day. And if one of them doesn't go right, if you get caught up in the middle of it, okay, flip the page, go to the next one. Exhibit the next one. Pressure off, bro. Pressure off. And yo, I heard this yesterday. Somebody was talking about, like, they asked Michael Jordan, like, oh, have you ever been afraid of losing or fear of like missing a shot or something like that? And sorry, Mike, if I butchered this, but he said something to the effect of training and repetition removes the fear. When you train, repeat, you're so good at that shit that, like, bro, you know, if you miss that shot, you're gonna make the next one. You know, it's not a big deal.
Do you ever have you ever had to like build up like a story in your head to like to get you to like, cause like I'm sure at a point like you gotta like hate this guy. Like, and like if there's a situation where you don't know him or you might even like him if you knew him a little bit, like do you ever like tell yourself a story or like make stuff up in your head to like get yourself like angry?
Me personally, no.
Yeah.
But I'll color in that answer. In sparring, yes. In sparring, like if somebody gets the best of me, like I spar with some fucking badasses, bro. And sometimes like one guy right now, Monster. They call him Monster. And you know,
That's
that guy has one speed. Destruction. Don't fucking know nothing. He's just hammer fist, heavy as fuck, heavy leather. And he just knows how to go one speed. And I appreciate that because you know that if you're going with this guy here and you do well with this guy, you know you actually did well. And you don't have a false sense of confidence, right? But for example, he got the best of me twice. I'm at a new gym with new guys, with multiple world champions in this gym. Shout out Herman Caicedo, my coach, and multiple Cuban Olympic champions there. And so, you know, the brass is top notch, high caliber guys. So this guy, I don't know who he is, right? But he fucks me up, bro. I couldn't really talk like for like a week.
Holy
I was like
shit.
talking like this because my jaw was like, my muscle in my jaw was busted. So I remembered that. Next time I walk in to sparring with him, I was like tighter.
Yeah.
He still fucked me up. And then like 2 or 3 weeks went by, and you don't want to show no weakness ever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm good sparring, bro. I'll be better next time. But I'm like, fuck. Headache.
Yeah.
2 3 weeks, a month goes by, and it's time to spar again. I walk back in, and like I got the fucking, you know, I got that shit. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, not today, bro.
Yeah.
Not
Yes,
today.
sir.
That's all I'm having in my thought. Like, no animosity. I don't hate you. I'm not visualizing that you did me wrong or nothing. But I'm just like, not fucking today. Not today. I walk in the ring and I'm like, just like this the whole entire time. And I know it's like at a moment or another he'll pop off. So I'm literally just waiting for that moment. When he popped off, I was like, yeah. Fucking bombs the way and did good. After that, I earned my respect. But you would have thought the next time sparring would be different. No, it's always the same.
Yeah.
You gotta earn your respect every time.
And since you fought in all different like fighting modalities, all the different Muay Thai, boxing, MMA, I'd be interested to get your take on the gloves. So obviously, if you're a UFC fighter, they got those smaller, compact gloves as opposed to boxing. It's the like was it 14 ounces, 12 ounces?
We fight with 10 ounces.
10 ounces.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it changes.
Yeah,
but
and just like getting hit with those, like the difference, and what do you think is worse for you long term?
Good question. So it comes down to the, how do I say this? Like the surface impact. So like, for example, if I punch you with my whole fist, that gets distributed across a wider surface. If I aim my knuckle, that's all of that power in one point. That's gonna cause damage. That's gonna break your shit or knock you out. So now put that in perspective with the glove, right? The boxing glove is gonna wider surface. The MMA glove, smaller surface. You're gonna get a better.
It's easier to put you out.
potential.
Yeah. Now, this is what I'm interested because you're fighting and you're also training people to fight.
Yeah.
And you're, especially in Miami, you get all types of people that you're training. And you, like, the thing that I really think is interesting is you train a lot of influencers.
Yeah.
You train a lot of like like crypto, you know what I mean? Like there's this like wave of guys that came in and maybe they weren't like the man, right? Before they got money, they got this influence, and then they feel this need to, I'm going to step up, I'm going to try to start fighting. I'm going to start training to fight. When you meet somebody, do you know right away, like, this guy's kind of like in it for the wrong reasons? Or do you see some guys that you're like, man, I didn't expect, that dude's a warrior. Like, that dude's a warrior. And when do you find out?
My perspective, my take on it as a coach, as an instructor, is this is good for you. You're investing in yourself. And I applaud that. It's like watching a fatty jogging on the street.
Yeah, that's awesome.
See?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That,
Yeah.
but you could also be like,
Good on you, man.
Yeah, hell
Let's fucking
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel about it. So whether they're up there, and I have different ranges, right? Guys are come in already knowing some stuff, and they've sparred and everything, and other guys are completely green, and I'll take them wherever they're at and try to make them better, which I can, you know, because I got experience for that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's the mindset of somebody that says, like, you know, I want to do this. Why do they want to do this? Like, is it for like proving to themselves that, hey, like I can step in and I can do something that is like, I look at what you're doing as like you're a modern day gladiator. It's like it's real shit. Like, you're going out there putting your body on the line for the entertainment aspect of it, but also to prove to yourself that like you have this like warrior mentality. These people that step in, because I know you probably have all ranges. Some people, they're like, hey, I just want to get fit, man. Like, I'm just here to get fit. I think boxing is the way to do it. But then you got the people that are, it's like, no, I want to see what it's like to get put in the fire. Like, I like, and that's a very different indication of like those guys that like entrepreneurs, influencers, whatever, they step in and they want to prove to themselves that they can show up in fire.
yeah.
Why? Like, why do you think they do? Why do you think they do that? Is it to prove it to themselves? Is it to prove it to others? Like, what do you see?
I think it's in all of us as men. It's just in there. It's just in there. Even when I was a little dude, bro, I would watch boxing with my dad, and I didn't know why I liked this so much. Like, what's up with this? Something about this.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like the ancient currency of men. You know, like, that's my girl. No, that's my girl. Oh, well, let's find out. You know, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And even more than kicks and knees and everything, something that just, how about just these? You know what I mean? I can't explain much more than that. Just a feeling, an intuitive thing. And I think all men have a desire to tap into that. And I actually think that, you know, you want to explore you want to discover yourself. That's self-improvement. That's self-discovery. That's self-actualization. Hey, what am I capable of if I had to? You know, that's important. Know thyself, right? I think it all comes down to that.
Yeah. So you got a big fight coming up. You said 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know a lot about it, and I would like to learn more about like the weight cut, like that process, because I know in UFC fighters, I know you were talking about it off camera a little bit, and yours is more of like a healthier weight cut. But you see guys that are so big that come down like 30 pounds to get into a cage, get in a fight. I'd have to imagine that like it's depleting. Like, you're only 50% of yourself by the time you get in there. How can you, like, is there something that we can change that going forwards? Like, you would think like you would want to fight at your peak. So like, can weight classes be moved around? Like, where do you see the future going? Because I know like Rogan and those guys always talk about it. Like, let's add a weight class every 10 pounds instead of every 20 to like kind of make the competition a little better. It's healthier on the fighters, I'd imagine, that are coming down that way. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like, do you think there's a way to rework this where people can fight at their peak?
I don't know, bro. Basically, as I understand it, one day some asshole had a great idea of I'm gonna cut all this weight and I'm gonna fight the lighter guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat their ass.
Yeah.
And then it just became a thing. And now it's like
That's just dangerous,
if
man.
you don't cut, like you're gonna end up fighting a huge guy. That's happened to me, dude. So I go down to my weight class is light heavyweight 175. But it used to be 168 super middleweight. And I'm actually disciplining myself to go back down there because that's where I have the most advantage. I like to stack compound the advantage. You know what I mean? But like every little pound actually makes a exponential difference when you rehydrate. So I did a catch weight. That's what I want to mention.
Yeah.
Want me to go back to catch
weight. Yep.
I did a catch weight with a guy at we were supposed to go to 180 and we were like, fuck it, let's just go to 185. Because I didn't want to go down there either.
Yeah.
So I'm like, better. Let's just go to 185.
Yeah.
Yo, this motherfucker rolled back up the next day. I didn't see what he was on the scale, but he looked 210.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I was 192 because that's my healthy rehydration back. And I'm like, damn. And you could definitely feel it in his punch. What I think, where I think it's gonna go in the future, I think the WBC has something implemented where like, I hope I don't get this wrong, but it's like you have like a 10-pound limit. And
Like rehydration clause?
You can't be 10 pound over what you were yesterday at the weigh-in, because then that lets everybody know that you did a significant weight cut, right? That kind of makes it so that like, hey, you cut 5 or at most 10, and you're still in your weight class.
Because I think the best example of this was the Ryan Garcia. Like this was very obvious in the Ryan Garcia fight when he fought Gervonta, where you could see
Talking about all this weight class.
Yeah. You could see Ryan come into that fight. I think they had a 10-pound rehydration clause, and they already put him at 136, and he's like I think he's a natural 145er for the most part. Or I mean, he was fighting at 136, but he fought Gervonta, and you could see that it just wasn't the same.
That was a different guy.
That was a different. And then when he went and fought Devin Haney, he fucking whooped his ass. And I think it was the same weight, but he didn't have the rehydration clause.
No, it wasn't the same way. It wasn't the same way. You could see he looked different.
Yeah. So
I don't know exactly what the numbers are.
Yeah. It was something in that range.
What do you think about the rehydration? Like, what do you think about, like, I feel like it's a little different in UFC and boxing where, like, the fighters pick their terms more. So, for example, like Gervonta Davis was able to, he was like, if you want to fight me, there has to be the rehydration clause or we're not doing it. What are your thoughts on that compared to, like matchmaking, even in boxing? Like, I feel like it's more so that not everyone, but a lot of, like, big boxers, like, they're not going after the biggest fight they can. Like Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia is a better example where they're the two top guys they went after. I feel like a lot of the boxing fights, like, they're not picking the best guy they could.
Why is that?
So the rehydration thing with Gervonta Davis, and in boxing, everything is about, like, you can modify things to win, to get advantage, right? You can have a bigger ring. You can have a smaller ring or a bigger ring, depending if you're somebody who likes to use footwork or you're somebody that you just like to get to it.
Get in the phone
if
booth.
you're on the promotion side of things, they'll set things up for you, right? Because you're their investment. So that's also answering the second part of the question. You're their investment. So they have money on you. Obviously, they don't want to see you lose. They don't want to see your investment go down the drain. So if they put you against another very competitive guy, that can very well go down the drain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the biggest difference, I believe, between UFC and boxing.
Yeah.
Because UFC, everybody's under the same umbrella, and it's like they'll put the best against the best because in the end they don't lose. You know, it's like you guys are all our people. And in boxing, it's like this guy is with that promotion, this guy's with this promotion, this guy, but he is my investment, so I'm gonna look to make everything line up for him. And then that's why things are like it's more hoops to jump through in boxing to get the big fights. Everybody's like, nah, we're not gonna.
Why do you think?
I don't care about the setup, you know.
Why do you think the losses in boxing are such a bigger stain than in MMA? Like you can get you can have an like, even you look at like guys like Connor and these guys that came through, they hadn't a loss on their record even going into the UFC, and it wasn't looked at in the same way. Where boxing, it's like, I guess we're kind of getting out of that. It's it's like, why was that so hardcore before?
They call that the Floyd Mayweather effect, the Mayweather effect.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
True.
Yeah.
He came in with the my, you know. Maybe it's before him too, but he really pushed it out there, and everybody jumped on that bandwagon. But it is changing. It is changing, and I even spoke with the people that are already in the world of boxing see it differently. Like, I was talking to a matchmaker earlier this month, and she was telling me, she's like, you know, when I match these people up and I see a 20-0 guy, I don't necessarily have respect for that person right away, because let's go see who it is that they fought. You know, this guy is from Dominican Republic. This guy's from Colombia. This guy, like,
and some of those fights are like
CVS on the corner,
like bar fight. Yeah, like they're like
Right.
they're like in the back of like a dive bar or something like that, and they're fighting.
If you look at my record, for example, I didn't have like big sponsors coming into the game. I actually had to kick that door down. You know, they weren't trying to let me in. My idea was, I wanted to box before I did MMA, and I did MMA because they weren't opening the door for me in boxing. So I had all those wins, and then finally I'm like, yo, so what's up? You guys gonna give me a shot or what? Like, I've been doing all of this over here because you didn't open the door. So then they did open the door. But even then, I had to fight tough guys. So I racked up a few losses quite early in my career. And then because it's like an investment sport, these guys are looking at you like, they look at you like a piece of paper, right? They're like, I don't know if I want to invest on this guy. But they're not necessarily looking at your skills, of your experience. And this matchmaker that I'm mentioning, she was like, I see that, like, the only guys that you lost to were really fucking good guys, and they didn't take you out. They all got you by decision. So I know that you for sure have experience, and then you beat this other guy and this other guy and this other guy. So, you know, as opposed to this guy that has 20, and me, my record is 11-6 and 1. You know, that's not the greatest thing on the paper, but like I said, once you take a closer look, you're like, oh shit. Let's see what he has.
And you're going into legit like wars with some of these like heavier, like bigger guys, these like professionals, these guys that maybe they're the prize, you know, investment, whatever. What is it like to be in a war like that?
Oh man. So, okay. So you don't want to be in a whole bunch of wars.
Yeah.
You know, you want to save that for when all the marbles are on the table.
Yeah.
And with that said, you can't be like scary. Oh, I don't want to fight this guy.
Yeah.
Because they'll, you know, people will be like, yo, you're ducking, man. You're cherry picking. But my first boxing, my pro debut was a war, dog. Was a crazy ass war. It was such a war that I was like, damn. Is it gonna be like this every time? Like, I don't know if I want to do that. You know, it was crazy. We went into enemy territory, fighting against the hometown guy. He had 55 wins and 5 losses in his amateur career. I had 1.
That's crazy.
1 victory in my amateur, but they didn't know that I had all of this MMA experience. When they looked at my record, all this stuff, I was like,
So they were cherry picking.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. It was my debut against his debut, and they were looking to get the guy started off on the right foot, but they picked the wrong one that day.
Let's go.
Let's go, man.
Yeah. And if you put some highlights on the clip around here somewhere,
Yeah.
you'll see what I'm talking about.
throw 'em
whooped
up
his
there.
ass.
Yeah.
You whooped his ass.
Crazy.
So you're in camp right now.
Yeah.
So what is what does your training regimen look like, and nutrition? Like, how long is it? 5 weeks? 6 weeks?
So it starts off with being disciplined.
Yeah.
Starts off with getting in a routine. So I box Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we run, we do track. Thursday we box, Friday we box. And then that's with the team.
Yep.
You know, that's everybody there just doing our thing. And then I also like to do my own individual sessions, because that's when I get to like just spend time with the bag, spend time with the craft. Try this. Maybe maybe this angle, maybe like I'll just like think without anybody like telling me what to do. Both are beneficial.
Yeah.
I made that mistake also in the past where I thought I was with the team, and I remember having my alone sessions, and my alone sessions were really productive to the point that I was like, I don't need to do the team sessions, and I lost sight of something very important there, very important there. So now with that experience, I'm like, nah, we go with both, right? So I'm boxing 5 times a week. Is that right? 4 times a week.
4 times a week.
Running track running track 1 time a week. But I do my road work every other day. So I hit 3 miles, 3, and then on the weekend I hit 6.
Interesting. And what are you eating like right now?
Protein, lots of freaking protein. I hit carbs because you need energy.
Yep.
You need energy to train. But I try to get most of my energy, most of my calories from protein so I can stay lean.
Yeah, and fighting is a different type of cardio game. So like you run 3 miles, are you doing like sprints and stuff like that? Like how do you get your cardio up so well? Because like running 10 miles is completely different than boxing 12 rounds.
Yeah.
So like what does your cardio look like to get yourself in that shape to stay good through?
It's different kinds of runs, you know.
Yeah.
So you'll do like a jog. Just sometimes I run for breath work. So I'll just be like, just really like going through that motion. Sometimes I'll run for speed. I'll do like interval sprints. I'll jog for like 2 blocks, and then I'll sprint for 1. And then I'll jog for another 2 blocks, and I'll sprint for 1. That'll shoot your heart rate up and practice also your recovery, right? And then other times I'll just do a longer run to get the weight down. That's what the 6 miles is for.
Right.
And also for your mind too. Because you'll be surprised. Like you'll be surprised. You're in the ring, you're fighting for your life, but you'll tune out.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you
How
like
so?
zoned out kind of like
Yeah. Like you just zone out. You know you're fighting for your life. You know you could get knocked out, but your focus is weak. It's like a muscle. And like, it gives out. Your focus can also give out, and you'll tune out. Running for 6 miles, you're forced to stay focused. You're tired. You got to think about other shit to keep you going. Every step is getting me closer to my goal. Every step here makes me stronger. Every step here renews my youth, strengthens my core, strengthens my spirit.
Yeah. And when you say like you tune out, you zone out, is that because of like the crowd, the atmosphere? Is it just like a lack, like it's hard to concentrate for that long on one thing? Like why do you the concentration?
The concentration part, literally the muscle part, the muscle aspect of it. Like you just be like, bing.
Yeah. Get woken up real quick, right?
But there are other elements of it. I'll share a super funny story about this. So I had an old lady. Well, I'm sorry. a sweet older lady that I trained at the gym, and I was selling tickets at the gym, right? And I give her, hey, you want to come? She's like, I'm gonna buy the ticket, but I don't like violence, so just give my ticket to somebody else. And I go, no, I insist, keep it. And if you change your mind, I would love to see you there, right? Fast forward the day of the fight, I see her there. She's in there, cross leg. I'm like, all right, she came, right? So when you're in the fight, you have like a bubble. And you can, with all that noise, you can focus on your coach's voice, bro. It's like a force field, you know? But that gets weaker and it gets stronger. And sometimes it gets weaker and you hear other people, fuck you.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then you got to straighten that shit again.
Yep.
Well, on that day, I'm fighting. And I just hear out of the blue, all that noise I hear very clearly, like, rip his head off. I didn't see who it was, right? So I keep fighting. And then some more goes by, and she's like, she's like, fucking kill him. And then I see her, I'm like, oh, it's her. She's like losing her shit.
That's awesome.
I'm like, you don't like violence, huh? I won't believe that again.
That's so funny. Have you had like a big loss in your career so far that was like a tough mental comeback for you?
Sorry. One time I was fighting and the guy was like, yeah, fuck him up. I'm like, huh? Yeah, get his ass. He ain't got shit on you. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, fuck you, Victor. I'm like, wait, what?
He's talking to the other guy. That's hilarious.
What was the question?
Like a big loss. Have you had a big loss yet where you like it was a tough comeback to get back in the ring, to continue boxing,
Mentally,
continue fighting,
to
mentally.
put yourself back there.
For sure, bro. For sure. And those things work like this. It's like, if you have a really bad loss, like you get your ass whooped, it can be traumatizing. And my pro debut, I traumatized that guy. He didn't fight after that.
Damn.
Bro, this was a highly, he was a prospect that people were investing money in him. 55 wins, 5 losses, like Puerto Rican up and comer. And I went in there and I straight traumatized him.
Damn.
I traumatized myself. Remember, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. If it's going to be like this every time. But if you look at his box rec, he didn't fight anymore, bro. He didn't fight anymore. So my way of is like, if you get pushed so far down the line, you don't come back. You just like, I don't know about it.
Can you make that decision in a fight where you're like, I feel like I'm going a little too deep here? Maybe are you even thinking that far ahead? No, you're just there. You're just there to go.
Yeah.
Damn. So then when I want to go back to the mindset, because a lot of entrepreneurs watch this show. So it's based, the thing that I think about entrepreneurship and boxing, entrepreneurs think that they're warriors. Boxers, fighters are true warriors. So in your mind, preparing that warrior mindset, are you doing anything like on top of the training, mindfulness, things like that, where you're like
strengthening the mind?
Yeah, strengthening the mind.
Bro, that's not spoken about enough. That's not spoken about enough. You could train, you could be a beast, but if your mind is not strong, if your spirit is not strong, fighting is a spiritual thing, dude. It's like let me gather myself here to talk about this, because this is a big one, bro.
Yeah.
Like meditating, I'll go out to the beach, I'll meditate a lot, just spend time, just me and God, just me and myself, just listening to the ocean, breathing, going through my emotions. Oh, I feel uncertain about this. I feel insecure about that. Why do I feel insecure about that? What is it that is making me feel this way about this? Oh, that's what it is. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, let's address that. And it's through meditation, through alone time, that you get to address these things. And when you get to the fight, you have that overwhelming sense of certainty, of confidence that you got this. And it's mental. It's nothing to do with physical. They're separate. You know, you could be super like that previous story that I shared with you with my first loss. I was physically ready, mentally broken. Mentally broken, yeah. So I like to, like, now, bro, I'm in my sharpest I have ever been, because I really started paying close attention to it. I didn't give it enough consideration, and I'm a kind of guy that I got a good natural instinct and natural talent for it. So it's one of those things where like you get away with stuff because you're naturally gifted, and then until you don't, and the higher level you go, you start to really not get away with it. And I'm like, man, what the fuck is going on? I've been kind of hitting the ceiling here for a while, and I got to a point where I was like, no, fuck that. I'm busting through this shit right now. Like, I did not just invest half of my life or more at this point into this career, into this endeavor, to not have a motherfucking reward from it. I don't care what I gotta drop. We're gonna drop it right now. I'm not smoking. I'm not drinking. I'm not having sex. It's been over 3 months.
Damn.
Golly. You locked in.
Locked in.
No jerking off.
Nothing.
Zero.
It's crazy.
Zero. Because I'm like, whatever it takes.
Does that just make you like
I'm
angry?
literally like, they say okay, if you do the same thing and you're expecting a different result, that's the
Definition of crazy,
right?
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so what haven't I done before? This. So let's do it. And it's crazy. I gotta tell you, since I've been doing this, it was August, it was right after my birthday. I'm like, let's lock in. Yo, skyrocketing up, bro. Performance-wise, mental-wise, relationship-wise, patience-wise, even my interaction with my kids, at work, relationship with work, family, training, everything just skyrocketing up.
And like, you know, you have a family and you have your team, but you know, ultimately it seems like this is like a solo journey when you're going through this. Does it get lonely? Like, is there a point where like you just feel lonely, even though you have all these people around supporting you?
No,
No.
That's good.
I don't feel it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that? Is that because you've invested well into your family and the team aspect of it, like having that team where you're going to the gym every day and you guys are all kind of pursuing the same goal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That has helped a lot.
It's a tribe.
Being in that gym with other badasses,
Yeah.
it's crazy, bro. When I joined this gym, I remember that's a whole other story, but I got introduced to my coach through a friend who is also a promoter, and I fought for his event, and we made a good connection, and so, bam, he introduced me there, and I remember training, and I remember like I had this badass on my right, this badass on my left, this fucking beast right in front of me because we got bags all over, right? And I remember just doing my thing, and this guy's like, yeah. I'm like, damn, bro.
Yeah.
Oh shit. This guy, blah, blah, blah. That guy doing some super skillful shit. I'm like, all right, let's fucking go. You know, I'm in here with like some top caliber guys, and that makes you feel, that does something for your self-esteem. Like, I'm where I belong. You know, I'm where like I've invested for this. I didn't get here. Nobody trains in that gym. Like, if you're in that gym, it's because you're either already a world champ or the coach is like, you're gonna be a world champ, and
like,
they believe in you like that.
What do you see like across the board characteristics, traits that all like you're surrounding yourself with killers? Like, what are the commonalities that you see in all of these people, like that makes them that way? Is there any specific things that you see, or is everybody different?
What makes a killer?
Yeah, like high performers,
high performer?
ultra disciplined killers. Is there any commonalities that you see across the board that everybody kind of has? Like, that's a big part of the show, is trying to figure out like what makes high performers. Like, what sets them apart from everybody else. And that's an answer we're looking for. And I'm curious to see what your take is on it.
Give me a second to think.
Yeah, take your time, man.
Everybody that I have seen succeed in what I do has been fully committed.
All in all the time.
All in. Full time. Not part time. Full time. Fully committed. And like I said, I went ahead and I tried to figure that shit out the hard way. I'm like, oh, I could have a little bit, I could party a little bit, and then I got stuck for a while. And then I'm like, nah, it can't be this. I'm like, it can't be that. And I'm like, okay, well, let me try it. And then as soon as I did, like I was just saying, we busted through that ceiling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so that's what these guys were doing. They were just locked in. They have a vision. They have a goal. They have like skin in the game.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're gonna get this W.
Yeah.
One way or another.
It's that burn the boats mentality.
Yeah. So maybe it's not what people have, it's what they lack, kind of like a lack of an off button, a lack of boundaries or self-doubt.
That's a good way to put it, bro.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to put it.
It's interesting.
Yeah. The lack of discipline, the lack of desire, the lack of will, the lack of consistency.
Yeah.
All of those things I just said were what I personally know were holding me back.
Do you think it could be self-taught, or do you think it's something you have or you don't?
Oh, you could definitely self-taught. You could definitely, life will teach you that shit, but you either get it or you don't.
Yeah.
It either means something to you or it doesn't. Like some people, maybe they could get it elsewhere. Like if you know you could be a great athlete,
Yeah.
but you know that you could also be great at business. You might actually look at it and be like, oh, you know what? Let's just go the business route, and that's fine. No judgment on that. But you're definitely gonna have to have that mindset with the business.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's funny, right? Because in entrepreneurship and the people that listen to this show, they don't have the same consequences of that lack of discipline, of that lack of desire. It doesn't show up as
Evident.
It's not punching you in the face.
Exactly. Like if you're not disciplined when you go into a fight, it's war. Like there are legitimate consequences at the other end of a lack of discipline, lack of desire, what entrepreneurs don't have is they don't have that moment. They don't have that moment of, hey, here's the product. Did you win or you lose? Some people sleepwalk their way through 10 years.
Damn.
In our business where you don't burn the boats. You don't say, I'm going to put this away. And you end up putting yourself behind the 8 ball, and then you go 10 years down the line, you're like, fuck, man, where did that go? Where did all that time go? And that's why I like talking to people like you, because you have learned it. I think there's this thing with athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, anybody that's truly successful at their craft, there is that common, it's not that the habits are the same. It's not that, everybody can get to success in unnumbered amount of ways, but it's that commitment that I think actually creates the you attract that lifestyle to you.
Straight up. Well, and let me tell you something about that, bro. Actually, that happens in fight sports as well. And it did happen to me. Like I said, I was an up and coming, people were like, you can do this. And then I fucked off for 10 years. I've been a professional boxer for 10 years. And I could have been way further. But because I was like trying to get away with a little bit of here, a little bit of there, and not thinking that was holding me back, or maybe not being aware of it. Now in the place that I am currently now, I'm like, yo, I'm 35. I already spent 10 years being an ass, just literally burning that time. That's how come I got such a fire lit on me right now. When I don't tolerate my bullshit. And I'm like, I don't want to train you. Shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Get your ass out there now.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Or I want a little drink today. I'm like, nah, bro, what you talking about? You had 10 years to drink, and you got, the way I look at it, I'm 35, but I'm very well kept. I like to say I'm like a 1989 Corvette with little
yeah,
like I can still
sure.
go, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I can
yeah.
still fucking go. You put some turbo on that bitch, we out.
Yep.
So that's how I see it. I'm 35. Realistic. I don't even like to say it like that, but let's just go 5 years at a time. I got a solid 5 years ahead of me that I can really be in a different dimension.
Yeah.
If I take the approach that I'm taking now.
Yep.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's my vision. I'm like, I'm cutting all the bullshit. I'm going full fucking throttle. I'm not letting anything stop me. Even I'm already thinking about, look, I was last night thinking about like, okay, what am I gonna do after I win my fight? Cause I got new sponsors on deck.
Hell yeah.
I got a whole nother set of eyes on me now. And it's like, once again, it's an entertainment sport. It's a spectator sport. When you win, people want to be with you. And Victor, want to celebrate with you.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, peace, that's not good for your career. So you have to take that into consideration. Like, yeah, let's go out. But I'm thinking, I was like praying and talking to God. I'm like, what's the right thing for me to do? I'm like, okay, well, you know what the right thing for you to do is? Remain ambitious. Keep going up. Go with your people and party. Maybe have a drink, but definitely don't get drunk.
But you're doing that because
And get right back to work.
Yeah.
Because we don't have time. That's what I'm in my head. I'm like,
we don't have time. What does grit mean to you?
what does grit mean to me? I don't know if it's because I just said all that I want to say what I just said.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's a definition of it, but to me, I think I want to go with that. Like, grit is that, having a solid ass vision, a burning fire that you're like, we're gonna get this shit done, no tolerance for anything that's gonna be in the fucking way. Full throttle go. That's to me, that's great.
Yeah. Kind of pivoting real quick. I'm curious to get your take on these new fights going on with all the influencers and like Tyson, Jake Paul. You're a boxer, obviously. Like, I love boxing. I love UFC. Do you think it's a detriment to the sport?
Do I think it's a detriment to the sport? Man, it's entertainment. You know, people.
Do you think it's fake?
People want to be entertained. That's where you wanted to get. I don't know. I don't think so.
I want to show you, after we're off camera, I want to show you a video I saw. It was Tyson Paul fight, this just past one. Jake drops his left, his face is wide open. Tyson pulled his punch.
Okay. All right. I was talking to my buddy about that same clip.
Okay.
And I may be giving Jake too much credit, but maybe not.
He's an athlete. He's good.
He's a good boxer.
Yeah, he's a good boxer.
So this happens all the time where, like, I'll have a strike in mind, like a right hand. I'm going to throw this right hand. And then I see you already starting to counter it. And I'll in real time calculate, like, this is not going to be worth it because it's going to counter me with a much bigger shot. And I'll cancel that punch. I'll be like, oh, no, never mind. So when I look at that punch, you can see, like, Jake is kind of rolling.
Turned, yep.
He's kind of rolling at the same time. Like I said, maybe I'm giving Jake too much credit.
Right.
Who knows?
It's hard.
I think that just with the
There's
Tyson.
another one where, like, Mike taps him on the shoulder.
Yes.
People are like, oh, that's him saying, like, take it easy. Like, nah, man, we tap each other all the time.
Yeah.
Like
he's clearly got power. Like Jake Paul, he's got knockout power. He trains
Mike
really
Tyson is
fucking hard.
nasty, dog.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you got to get in that fight and you're like, I'd bet when you get in a ring with somebody and you're like, this person is clearly not on my level at this very moment. And I could either really hurt them right now or I could kind of just let this breathe. I think he was in that moment.
For
I think he
sure.
was preparing for war. I don't think that was for show.
Mike,
Both of them. I think Jake was. I think there's a fear around getting it into a fight with one of the GOAT, Tyson, and you're like, you don't know who's gonna show up on that fight day. I think once he got into the ring, he was like, I'm fighting a 6-year-old man right now. I can't.
You definitely find shit out
It was
right there when
sad.
you step inside.
Yeah, it was like sad to watch though. Seeing Mike like that, like no one. There's no legs.
I legit thought Mike was gonna win. I did. I was
Same.
like, Mikey's either gonna win early or he's gonna win late by decision. And the reason I thought that he was gonna win late by decision is because boxing is a sport that has rules. And if you learn how to play the rules, you know how to buy yourself time.
Yeah.
You know how to run the clock down. Kind of like basketball,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mike has enough. Somebody said Mike has forgotten more boxing than Jake has ever learned in his life. And it's true. I thought that with his experience, he'd be able to do that. But then, like I said, when you step in the ring, you find out exactly where the pieces are on the board. And Mike looked good for a round, and then it looked like maybe the adrenaline hit his body really hard.
No legs.
He looked, to me, like his facial expression looked like,
I'm not. Yeah.
I think
and
he
sorry,
made a lot
one
of
thing.
money,
And at the
so.
same time, bro, Jake is in a catch-22. Like, if you whoop Mike Tyson or you whoop a 60-year-old man,
It's a lose-lose.
that everybody is gonna be like, yo, hey, I'm gonna catch you in this fucking alley real quick.
Yeah.
Really, though,
It's
but
really
people are
tough.
saying that.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, it's like
you lost to a 60-year-old. Yeah, it's a lose-lose. Besides the fact that he makes
$20 million.
$30 million from it. Who's the GOAT?
In boxing?
Yep,
In boxing, the GOAT. In boxing. Like the GOAT?
the GOAT. I know it's a loaded question. There's
let me list a few and then I'll
Yep.
pick one.
Okay.
Okay, we got Usyk.
Okay.
We got Inoue, the Japanese
Yep.
kid. I really like him. We got Terrence Crawford.
Yep.
All the main guys out there, listen. There's a lot of names going through my head. Who else we got? We got Canelo. We got Bivol. We got Better Biev.
Better be. Yep.
We got Gervonta. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else?
Tyson Fury, heavyweight.
Yeah, Usyk beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But do you throw away his
so.
whole it take just their prime? just their prime. So don't look at and all time. So don't take their full career.
Okay, look.
That's different.
I have a winner, I think, already.
Okay.
To me personally, I hope I didn't forget anybody. To me, Inoue.
Really? Over like Terrence Crawford?
Japanese guy.
Really?
Terrence Crawford is a beast. Man. Damn.
Because like,
I have to bring him back up.
yeah, because I'm just
thought I
thinking
had a
like,
winner.
yeah, I'm just thinking like that Errol Spence fight specifically.
Terrence Crawford is so smart.
Smart.
Bro.
You saw it there.
So smart. And don't get it twisted. People have off nights.
Yeah.
You can't judge somebody on an off night. He's so smart and has had his really good nights. And the one with the guy that he just fought, what was his name? He was a Russian guy. He looked like baby Triple G.
Yeah. I don't remember
think it
his
was
name.
an
But
off night for him.
yeah. I think that like for me, like the Errol Spence fight, and obviously don't get me wrong, you know better than I do, but to me, like Errol Spence is great, but I feel like that was great versus like an all-time great. Like, and there's a difference there. There's like a next level.
With Errol Spence and Crawford.
Errol Spence and Crawford.
I think there's more to that, more layers to that.
Yeah.
Because Errol was in a bad car accident
True.
and
He got like flown out, right?
yeah,
Like,
bro.
dude, so this guy, he got in a car accident and like flew down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching that
Yeah.
fight. That was
bad.
critical condition.
Yeah.
So nobody's the same
Never.
once you go through
That's fair.
something like
That's
that.
fair.
It's in your mind as you're fighting.
Yeah. And that's current guys. Like, what about like Tyson Ali, Sugar Ray? Who's your favorite all time?
Shit, you're getting crazy with it.
Yep.
Real quick, Inoue, the reason why I'm picking him is because just sharp, razor sharp. Gervonta, I fuck with Gervonta heavy.
Yep.
But between Gervonta and Inoue, I'm going with Inoue because I haven't seen nothing but
masterclass.
greatness.
Yeah.
What about Vasily Lomachenko?
Lomachenko, I was
Yeah.
at a very high level. I don't think he's there anymore.
No, but in his prime.
He can definitely show flashes of it.
Yeah.
And will continue to do so. But in his prime, damn, bro, he was making dudes sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Consecutive dudes just sitting
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight anymore.
Yeah.
This
He's
guy
dangerous,
has
man.
outthought by fucking counter to the counter.
Yeah.
I don't even want to do this anymore. It's
crazy.
That's wild. But all time, woo, that's nuts, dog. That's nuts. I like a lot of guys. Like I base my style on a couple of guys. Prince Nassim.
Okay.
I don't know if you know who that is. He's a British guy, really dope, really good entertainer and hands. Prince Nassim, Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr.
Yep.
Ooh, Roy Jones
Dangerous
Jr.
in his prime.
Roy Jones Jr. is my guy. That's your answer.
Roy Jones Jr.
Roy Jones Jr.
So
Wow. That's one that's not said a lot.
They sleep on him.
Yeah.
for the audience, as we wrap here, how can they support you? How can we support you? How can our audience support you as you continue to this next 5-year run, man? I'm excited for it.
Yep.
I think
you got
I
two
think
fans in us for
yeah,
sure.
man,
Yeah.
for real.
Love.
You're the man. How
Yeah.
can they support you?
Follow me on Instagram at RochaBoxing.com. Not at RochaBoxing. I also got my website at RochaBoxing.com. www. You can. All my handles is RochaBoxing.
Yeah.
TikTok, Instagram, my website, Facebook, LinkedIn. If you want to find me, RochaBoxing.
And if you're looking for a boxing trainer, think nowhere else but RochaBoxing.
Yes, sir.
I watched it live and in person. His way of not just teaching the technique, it's teaching the mental was special. I wish Lee listened to you in that moment, because I don't know if you know what happened in the fight, but he got out of his mind. He got out of his mind.
Yeah, what happened, man? They got
Dude,
Started throwing.
it was the craziest fight I've ever watched live and in person, because everybody hated him in that moment. Like everybody was
Lee or the other guy?
Lee. Oh yeah, no, he was in enemy territory, like real talk. Like, and he went in and he was fucking him up the entire fight, and then he got a flash knockdown in round 2, but he already had an adrenaline dump, and so then round 3 he won round 1 clear. Round 2, he got that flash knockdown, but he was fucking him up all round 2. Lee was like fucking him up, piecing him up.
Okay.
Round 3, adrenaline's dumped, and they got him on a. I think the judges were against him because you know when you see a inexperienced fighter and they're so tired that like they could just like a nice gust of wind will blow him over. That's where he was at, and right there at the end, he got a baby tap. Like it wasn't a real like punch, but he fell. But he was so exhausted, he got up and he didn't look like he was like with it, and they called it. And this is like 2 seconds before the fight's over. I guarantee if it went to the cards, he probably would have won it. To be honest,
Really?
yeah,
They did him like that?
yeah. Watch the fight back. Like it's
shit.
it's
That's
crazy.
what's up.
Well, thank you for coming on, man. I really,
the best.
really appreciated it. Please check him out. If you're in Miami, think nowhere else but RochaBoxing. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Pleasure, my man. Thank you.
I was